Today, we're going to give you guys insight on how we do our milking process. There are several things involved in getting set up for milking, including we have to make sure the milking stand is nice and clean and ready for the goats when they come up. You're going to see that the goat comes into the stand, they put the head in here, and the grain is already in here. So they know they're coming for grain, and you'll see us, we'll lock them in so they can't move while we're milking. Once they're on the stand, the next thing that's going to happen is, this is what we affectionately refer to as our squirt cup. We want to expel 3 squeezes from each teat because we want to get in the container the first set of milk that's going to come out of the goat, because it has 98% of the bacteria. So that's not what we want to harvest for the milking process, but we need to get it out. And then we also look at the milk to make sure it's fine, no discoloration, no blood or anything else like that. Once we get this milk, we don't waste it though. We actually put it in our bottle for our kids. So we end up filling this bottle as we go along, so all our bottle babies get the milk that we actually expel to inspect before we actually start catching the milk for consumption. After that's done, then we do a whole cleaning process where this is a mixture of water, castile soap, lavender oil, and tea tree oil. It smells amazing. We need some smelly vision around here. So this is what we use to spray on the teeth to actually clean them. And we use a rag, and you notice we went with a white rag or close to white rag because we want to make sure we check it for any dirt. So we squirt the teeth, we wipe it off to make sure it's clean, and when we wipe enough and then it's clean enough, then that's when we start doing the actual milking. So here we have a cooler that we bring in every single day. And with the cooler, when you open it, we have our containers that are supposed to be standing straight, which is a little bit hard to do with water in here, but these are all bottles of ice because we have to keep it cool. So we collect the milk in these glass jars. As they fill the glass jars, these glass jars are actually emptied into the plastic container, and we're constantly covering everything as we go because we don't want anything to fall into the mixture or into the milk. So you're going to watch us do this whole process now and see how it actually is done. One of the things you'll notice, there are actually 3 of us that try to do this every day. So I do the collecting of the milk, Cruz does actually getting the milk from the goats, and then we have Bull down there who actually handles the goat. So that way our hands stay as clean as possible. You have one person actually handling the goat as much as possible. One of the other things is, for Cruz and myself, we have to make sure we wash our hands thoroughly before we actually start the process, and we try to keep our hands clean as much as possible. Sometimes we have to go wash again or we end up spraying with the hand sanitizer just to make sure we have that additional step of sanitation as we go through the process. So Cruz will go ahead and do the squirting to see so we can test the milk to see what it looks like, and then we'll put it in the bottle when it looks good. Three full squirts from each teat, and I get a facial while we do this. Okay, so see, that's actually quite a bit of milk. You just kind of check it, swirl it around, make sure there's no discoloration or anything. If it looks good, then I pour it in this bottle, so we save it for our bottle kids. And while I'm doing that, Cruz goes ahead and he cleans the teat so we can start doing the actual milking that we're going to collect. So it goes in here. We waste nothing around here. So you notice he sprays thoroughly, and then he wipes thoroughly as well and checks the rag every time he wipes. And he goes to a different spot on the rag just to make sure that there's no dirt coming off of the teat. Now, the other part of the process is he has to wear gloves when we're getting actually ready to milk for consumption. So every time we do a goat, we switch gloves. So he gets a new pair of gloves, or a new hand, I should say, for every goat that we do. And while he's doing that, then I get my container ready. And again, all these containers are sterilized. So I sterilize right after we finish milking for the day. I go in, I wash the bottles, I sterilize them, and then I get them to cool. And if I have space in the refrigerator, we actually put them in the refrigerator overnight so they can cool, so they're nice and cool when we start milking. All right. If there's any water, I pour it out. Don't want any watered down milk. There you go, sir. And we milk. Yep. And we just keep milking till we get all the milk. And this is when we have story time. We tell stories and jokes as we milk. So we can entertain each other. What was that? Hot and spicy. Well, we won't tell them about hot and spicy, not today. So once the jar is full, he gives it to me. I gently come over here, open the cooler, take off the lid off of the container, everything stays closed, and I pour. As much as all of it out, I cover it back, make sure it's sealed, close the container, and you get the jar and you can
Where you want it? Yes, of course, definitely.
Immediately after we're done milking, we bring the cooler. We bring the cooler over. Again, it has all the ice, all the containers. Everything is sealed, and we actually date it. So we want to know what date we actually milk the goats. All I'm simply using is really painter's tape. Could be masking tape because apparently that's cheaper. But anyway, that's what I have, so that's what I'm using. So all I'm gonna do is put the date on here. Today is April. So we're averaging 10 quarts a day, and I think today we're a little bit over 10 so far. And then we always make sure we put our water bottles back to freeze for the next day. And I always make sure I have two milking jars, just in case something happens. You don't want to have to stop and start the whole process over. So I always have 2 milking jars ready, and I wash them and get them clean every day for the next day. And the little squirter cup. Right. That's true, the video gives us more milk. Yeah, we get a whole bottle. A full squirt bottle, big bottle for the kids. Yes. So we did well today. Thank you for joining us. It was fun. Hope you learned something. So, do you hear all that screaming and crying down there? Those are the kids that are crying because their mothers are here. We separate them at night so that we can get their milk first thing in the morning. So all our milking mothers are housed in this area at night. And as you can see, it's conveniently set up. So as we let them out, they come out in the hallway and go to the wrong spot.